Namaste everyone, welcome to your practice. This is Stephen from YogaWorks and today's class is called Low Back Love. A lot of people experience regular discomfort or even pain in the lower back area. So this is what I would like to address today. Yoga could really help to start to understand the cause of this lower back pain and also to alleviate some of the symptoms. Of course, if it's really bad, you might have to see a health professional, but there's quite a few things you can do by yourself to, as regular daily maintenance, actually to avoid problems that start to show up after a while. Now, one of the main causes here is actually not in the lower back itself, but is either lower down around the hips or higher up the spine around the upper back, sometimes even the neck. So it's good to look at these other areas upstream and downstream from the actual problem or painful area to work in a more holistic kind of way. So you'll see a lot of hip stuff, a bit of core work, a bit of upper back mobilization in this class, and hopefully all of that works together to give you a bit more of a spacious and stable feeling in the lower back. The lower back is made to be a strong structure surrounded by the core muscles and in the spine at the back. And if other areas are not doing their job correctly, then you'll find you'll get more discomfort in the lower back area because it's trying to do the job of the other areas that are not pulling their weight, you could say. So we're going to start with neck areas. Again, this is really far from the lower back, but the two are on opposite ends of the spine, you could say. And whatever we do in the body has an effect throughout the whole rest of the body. So I'm going to be loosening up the neck. There's three main movements that the neck is able to perform, and I'll take you through all three of them. So sit upright. We're lifting the chest a bit. The spine is in a good lengthened position. And try not to move the shoulders and the torso too much, and just look to your left. Go a little bit mild at first. Keep the shoulders down and relax. Look to the right. Back to center. Look left. Back to center. Right. Once more to each side. You don't need to force anything. It's not about how far you go, but it's how much control and awareness you can move through these simple movements. Now the next one is a side bend, so tilt your left ear to his left shoulder. Try not to lift the shoulders up, keep them relaxed. And then back to center, right ear to right shoulder. If you feel a closing angle pain, then just don't go that far. You might even skip that side altogether because it's not good to push through that kind of pinching sensation. We want to focus more on the lengthening of the opposite side. One more time, left ear, left side. And then right ear, right shoulder. You'll notice these are not huge movements, so keep it mild. And back to center. The last one is chin to chest. Feel the back of the neck lengthen. And chin lifting to the sky. Back of the neck contracts, the throat is nice and open. And again down. And look up. You'll feel the whole spine react as you do this, especially in the upper back. One more time. Look down. And lengthen the throat as you look up. And then return to the center. Nice. Let's come into puppy pose. Place your hands all the way at the end of the mat and then walk your knees quite far back and keep your hips above the knees level, and then start to push your hands down and allow your chest and the head to feel heavy down towards the mat. If your head touches, that's fine. If it doesn't, then it's also fine. You can always put something underneath your forehead to support you a little bit more here. So this is upper back mobilization mainly. We work on the length and extension in the upper back. And you'll feel more if you press the hands down, you pull the hips back. Couple of breaths here. Just feel the length in the side body and in the arms. This one is great after a long period of sitting, where we're often in a bit of a rounded position, the shoulders forward, the upper back rounded. So here we are getting a nice counter stretch to that. And then slowly release. Come onto hands and knees, and we'll just do a little bit of work to strengthen the back of the hips, because that's often a cause of the lower back having to kick in if the back of the hips are not strong enough to do their job they're designed for. So we're coming hands and knees, and just lift the right leg up a little bit, but don't go too high. If you lift too high, you'll find the spine needs to compensate. So we're keeping the lower ribs in, the core strong, and then that right leg stretches back. And it's probably good if it's a little bit below your hip level. Don't try to go too high. And then keeping the core strong, just do little lifts. And can you make that lift or that movement come just from the hip? So if we're looking from the side, we shouldn't see a lot of movement in the lower back. So we're trying to disassociate the hip movement from lower back movement. One more time. Nice, keep this. Just bend your knee this time. Doesn't matter how high that leg goes. In fact, don't go too high. You want to keep the spine in a strong and level position. And again, do little lifts. And try to let this come from the back of the hip more than from the lower back. You even squeeze your core and try to keep it absolutely stable. Might still move a little bit, they're attached in the end, but we're trying to learn how to move the hips separately from the lower back. Not easy, especially if you are new to this. And then lower the right knee down. Stretch the left leg back and lift it up a little bit without dropping the lower ribs, without dropping the belly. So we're keeping this strong. Don't lift the left leg as high as possible. And then just little lifts up and down. Super strong in your belly, in the sides, in the lower back. The whole core, feel this strong cylinder being firm and stable, which is what it's designed for. The hips are designed to move around in space with great freedom. So just see if you can find that. And then bend the knee. Same thing. Lift and lower. Minimize the connection to the lower back. Try to keep the belly stable, the lower back stable, and the hip to move. And then set that down. We'll go back to the right leg. Stretch it back, lift it up a little bit, and I'll lift the left arm forwards. So now I'd like to bring your awareness back to the lower back area. You can place your hand there, lift the lower back a little bit up into the hand. And then when you've got that, reach the left hand forward again. And just hold steady here. And can you feel there's a band of really strong connective tissue across the lower back, which connects the left shoulder to the right hip and the right shoulder to the left hip, like a cross across your lumbar spine, the lower part of the spine. Set everything down and swap sides. Left leg back, lift it up a bit. Right hand, just touch your lower back to see if you can fill that a little bit up, and then keep that. Reach the right hand forward, left leg back, and hold. So I was telling you about the X, the cross across your lower back. If that tissue is strong, you get a really nice connection from right shoulder to left hip, left shoulder to right hip. And that's why we're involving the arms and the legs to strengthen that connection across body, across the lower back. And then slowly release. And then lie down on your belly. You need a little bit of space to the left and to the right side here. And then lift your arms about 45 degrees. And now we're going to start rolling onto our left. I'm just moving my microphone. So keep the arms straight and flip your right arm over. And then roll back to your belly. Now the same one to the left. Flip the left arm over. And you feel really good rotation around the upper spine, where we often feel a little bit stuck. Again, to the first side, the right arm lifts, the chest rotates open, the legs are trying to stay grounded in the twist, roll back, lift the left arm, open the chest, resist with the legs, one more time to each side, left arm stays grounded, right arm opens, open the chest, back to center, and then last one, left arm lifted up, rotate, feel the twist in the mid and the upper back, and then back to center. Come to lie on your belly, on your back, I'm sorry. On your back. Bend the knees, almost like you're going into bridge pose. And use the tilt of your pelvis to press your lower back down into the mat. What I like to do here is actually have the fingers pointing up to the ceiling and pressing the elbows down. Just helps to get the shoulders stable as well. Press your lower back into the mat, feel how this engages the abdominals. And then do the opposite. Lift your mid-back off the mat. The tailbone is still down and the shoulders are still down. So you're just arching the middle part of the spine. And then exhale, press the lower back into the mat. Inhale, lift and arch your back. Exhale. Just these pelvic tilts are really amazing for lower back discomfort. Inhale, arch, and also to learn the connection between pelvic tilt and the spinal position. Exhale, press lower back down. Inhale, arch, and exhale, press down. Do one more in your own time. Nice. And then release. Bring your knees above the hips here. And then with your hands, press the knees a little bit away from you. So you can press quite hard. And instead of arching your back, we're pressing lower back into the mat. And then with your knees, push into the hands as if your knees want to come closer to the shoulders. Just feel a really nice way to engage the lower belly. It's a bit of a hard area to get into, often overlooked when we do core work. And not all core work has to murder your abs, let's say. It could be a little bit subtle. So just press your knees into the hands, press your hands into the knees, and squeeze your lower back down into the mat for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release for a moment. Take a breath. We'll do a similar thing but slightly differently, just to reset the position of the thigh bones in the pelvis. Now with your right hand, hold the right knee. With your left hand, push the top of the left knee. And then we're going to press the knees into the hand. With the left knee, you're going to pull in towards your shoulders, but the hand will not allow that. And with the right knee, you're going to try and move away from you, but the right hand is holding it. So pull left knee in, push right knee away. And with the hands, you're doing the opposite. Push left hand away, pull right hand in. And just feel that goes straight into the hip socket. And feel how this really connects your lower back nicely to the mat. It's a nice strong feeling around your core. Release that. Swap the hands with the right knee, push the top of the right knee. With the left hand, hold under the left knee. And then with the right knee, pull in. With the left knee, push away. So you're creating that tension. Push the lower back into the mat. Right knee wants to come closer, left knee wants to escape away. The hands are preventing both. And then feel that tension that is generated around the hips. 3, 2, 1. Release the feet down. And then bend your knees to your chest. Hold the front of the knees with your hands. And then just make little circles with the knees. Tiny little circle in the air. And you'll feel this also makes a circle with the lower back on the mat. Really nice little self-massage, you could say. And then change direction, rotating the other way. Feel that circle around your lower back. It's not a huge movement, it's actually quite subtle and relaxing. And then stretch your left leg away, pull the right knee in. And if you feel a pinching sensation in the front of the right hip, then just go a little bit wider with the right knee so you clear the chest. Couple of moments here, it's a nice stretch for the back of that right hip. And then release the side. Stretch the right leg away from you. Bend the left knee and pull it in. Again, if you feel a pinch in the front of the left hip, go a little bit wider, so just outside the rib cage, and that may help it. If it's still there, then just don't pull too hard. And then slowly release. And one of the best exercises to strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings is just a simple bridge. So set your feet, parallel the feet, and then just lift the hips up. And then lower them down. Keep your center a little bit strong, a sense of strength in the belly as you bridge up and lower down. A couple more times, lift and lower. Lift, feel the glutes squeeze as you lift the hips higher, and feel the glutes relax as you lower down. Lift, squeeze your glutes, lower, relax. 3 more. Lift, 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 and lower. 2 more. Sometimes you hear in the yoga class, relax your glutes. Definitely, I would not do that. I need my glutes to extend my hips. So that's exactly what we're doing in bridge. The only thing we're trying to avoid, is do one more, is that the knees splay open too wide, which is another function of the glutes we don't want to use here. We definitely do want to use the hip extension function. So they're working quite hard. And then release. Let's come to lie on your left side. And then just place your head on the biceps somewhere. Bend your knees just a little bit. Nice. And then with your right knee lifted up and touch down in front of your belly somewhere. And then stretch the right leg a little bit behind you, so you don't want it to be forward, a little bit behind you, and then turn the left toes in, so you've got internal rotation in that right leg. And then again, bend the knee, touch it down, and stretch it back, internally rotate. Bend, and stretch back, rotate internally, straighten the leg, lean it back behind you. Couple more times. Lean back. 3 more. Stretch back behind you and lift. 2 more. Turn the toes down as the leg was behind you. 1 more. And this time we'll hold here, rotate in a little bit more, lean the leg back a little bit more, and guess which muscle we're targeting. You may not know which one it is, but I'm sure you feel exactly where it is. You can even point to it. That is your glute medius, a smaller glute muscle which lies just under the glute maximus, and is responsible for abducting that leg, lifting it away from the midline, and is often a weak spot in a lot of people, including me. Now, just to make things worse, we'll do little lifts, lower down and lift, only 10. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully you're starting to feel something. 6, 7, 8. Wow. 9. Is that where glute medius is? And 10. Whew. Let's just lie here for a little bit. No, let's move on to the other side. Lie on your right side. I'm going to turn this way so you can see better. Your head can just rest on the bicep, the knees a little bit bent, and then touch your left knee in front of the belly. And then stretch that left leg back, rotate the leg internally and lean it back behind you. So not in front, but a little bit behind the level of the hips. And then we'll move through this a few times. Touch the knee and straighten. Touch down and straighten, lean it back. Touch down, keep rotating the leg internally so the toes point down. Couple more rounds, let's do 3 more. Touch down, stretch back. Lower and lift. Touch down and stretch back. Forgot where we are, let's do 1 more. I lost count. And stretch it back. Now lean the leg back a little bit more. Turn it in a little bit more and straighten it all the way. And now hold. Again, notice exactly where that muscle is that we're targeting, the glute medius. And if this is very easy for you, you probably have quite a good strength there. But for most people, this is going to be a little bit intense, or very intense, should I say? Okay, now we'll do 10 little lifts. Lower a little bit and lift a little bit. 1, 2, 3. That leg seems to weigh a ton. 4, 5, 6, 7. Really advanced, as if you can smile while you do this. 8, 9, and 10. Nobody said lower back work is going to be easy. Rest here for a moment. And then let's turn back onto the left side. And come back into that same position, knees a little bit bent, but this time go on your elbow. And we'll do a couple of, it's called clam shells, where again we target strength in the glute medius, the outer right hip this time. Open the knee, so right knee lifts away from the left, and close it. Open and close. Open and close. So you want to open just as far as you can without rolling that right hip back. That wouldn't strengthen the muscle group that we're looking for. You can do a couple more, or if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can lift your hips a little bit off the mat. And this will also engage the lower side here and your obliques, which are the muscles in the side. It's all part of core work, which will benefit the stability in the lower back. 3 more. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And the last one, lift and lower. Lie on your right side. Get ready. We're on the elbow, knees a little bit bent. Start with the hips down. You can always hold that left hip just to check that it's not leaning forward or back. And then just lift as far as you can and lower. Lift the left knee, lower. Lift and lower. Couple more. You can keep going here, or for the next few rounds you can lift the hips a little bit off the mat and try like this. If that's too much or you're losing focus or control, then rather keep the hip down. But if it feels good to also strengthen this lower side on the right, then this is a good option. This should be part of your daily exercises. Just add it to your list. If you don't have a list yet, then you can start one and you can add the clamshell to it. 2 more. Lower, lift, and lower. If you've got a resistance band, you can of course wrap that around the top of the knees to make it infinitely harder. Nice, let's come to stand at the top of the mat. Want to keep this relaxed, but we'll move just the right amount just to get a little bit of warming up around the hips, around the lower back. So we'll do 2 rounds of simple sun salutations. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees, keep the forward bend a little bit mild. Inhale, lift a little bit higher than you used to, just to strengthen the lower back. You'll feel those muscles are contracting here. And then lower the hands down, the right leg back, lower your right knee. Nice. Come up, hands to the front knee. For a moment, pull your back knee and the front foot together. Now feel how this fills up the lower back. It engages the abdominals. And it stretches the hip flexor, the front of the right hip in this case. Good, lower the hands. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower down. Locust pose. You don't need to go too high. It's a nice strengthener for the lower back. And then back to down dog. Inhale into down dog. Exhale, step the right foot forward, the left knee down. Both hands on the front knee. Pull in for a moment. Front foot, back knee are wanting to draw into the middle. And then hands down, left foot steps forward, fold, soft knees. Give your lower back space to lengthen. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Second side, inhale. All the way up. Exhale to fold forward, bend the knees and let your lower back lengthen. Inhale, now the lower back is strengthening as you lift the chest forward, a little bit higher than usual. Hands touch down, left foot step it back. Lower the left knee, bring both hands to the front knee, your right knee, and then pull the back knee forwards. Lengthen the tailbone down and get into that front of that left hip. The more you pull left knee forward, the more you'll feel that. So we're lengthening the hip flexor, which often gets tight from lots of sitting and then starts to pull on the vertebrae of the lower back. Lower the hands. Inhale to plank. Exhale to lower all the way down. Easy locust. Lift just a little bit. Back to down dog. You can move to hands and knees, and then lift the hips high. Inhale. Exhale, the left foot forward, the right knee down. One more time, hip flexor work, pulling together underneath you. Also squeeze into the midline a bit so you can engage the adductors and the insides of the thighs. Release the hands, step forward and fold. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Nice. For the next part, I'll recommend having a block or something else that you can lean on a little bit. So we're coming to warrior 3. Actually, let's start in half moon. We'll alternate between warrior 3 and half moon, which is really amazing outer hip work. So have something to support your hand. You know, there's a couch or a chair nearby. You can use that and come into half moon pose. You can hold your right hip with your right hand, and my left hand is on the block just to help me with my balance. And then all we're going to do is rotate that right hip down to a warrior 3 position, and then rotate the right hip open to a half moon position. Again, you can also turn the right toes down if that helps you to visualize and feel that a bit better. And then turn the right toes to the right so that the whole leg is rotating. Here the hip is lifting, and then when you turn down, the hip lowers to the level of the left hip, the standing leg hip. 2 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, rotate down. And then let's do 1 more, just for good measure. Here we go. Left hip, you should start to feel something. Mine is on fire. And rotate down. Whew. Let go of your block. We'll use it again in just a moment. And then step back to a warrior 1 pose, but with the feet quite wide. So right foot to the right side of the mat, left foot to the left. And then instead of facing forward, normal warrior 1, we're going to be facing towards the diagonal on the right. So if you take your hips however they are at the moment, and you'll be facing straight in that same line, and then you can bend your front knee a lot. You can even lengthen the stance. Super strong back leg, but we're not torquing our body towards that front leg, which is then putting some unnecessary pressure on the lower back. We're going in the direction the hips are naturally facing. One of my teachers calls this warrior 1.5. So if warrior 1 usually doesn't feel good for you, talking forward, then try warrior 1.5. So between warrior 1 and warrior 2, and see how that feels. Nice. From here, lower the hands down, straighten the back leg, so we're more in a lunge now. Lower the back knee, low lunge, and then come up, hands to heart, and twist the right elbow over the left knee. Push the elbow down on that knee, and rotate the chest to the left. Twists are really great to create a sense of space and length in the spine. And the length should be the first thing that we work on, more than the twisting to the side. So get a sense of stretching the chest up and away from the hips. Nice. Now lower the right hand inside left foot, reach your left hand back. Stay here. Or if you can, hold the inside of your right foot with the left hand. If you got the foot, you could turn forward again with the chest and maybe soften down a little bit. For some of you, it might be available to put that right elbow down. If it's not, then don't panic. Things are going to be fine if you just stay on your right hand as well. So this clearly quad stretch, the front of that right hip. And the quads and the hip flexors often influence each other in the same chain, so that's going to affect the lower back as well in the end. Release. And just step to the front of your mat. That's with grab your block again for our little bit of hip work on the other side. Place the block to the front and a bit to the outside of your right foot. Rest your right hand on it. Left hand to left hip, lift your left leg high. Warrior, no, not warrior, half moon pose. Rotate the left hip open. It's quite a subtle movement. Start to turn the left toes down and lower the left hip until it's next to the right. More like warrior 3, but you've got some support. And then open to half moon again. Turn the left hip down to face the mat. And open the left hip up. Again, turn down. Find this side seems much weaker in the right hip for some reason. That's what I notice now. Do 2 more. Rotate down, stay with it. Keep your balance by holding on to something. And open. Right hip is working hard. Last one. Rotate down. And open. And then release. Place your block off to the side. Thank goodness. And come into warrior 1 legs, but with the feet quite far apart, so sideways. Once you've got the feet, maybe lengthen the stance a bit. And then remember, we're not torquing our body towards the front for the normal warrior 1. We're going to be having it at a 45-degree angle, whichever angle feels natural for your body. You can have hands to hips. And then lift your arms in the same direction. And now work on bending that front knee and strengthening the back leg. Warrior 1.5. Welcome to a new yoga pose in between warrior 1 and warrior 2. And for me, this feels much better on that back leg, especially the front of that left hip, more than the torquing the upper body forward. Release the hands down and lower the back knee down. Low lunge with a twist, so lift the upper body up. Twist the left elbow over the right knee this time. And let me just turn so you can see from the other direction. Left knee over right, left elbow over right knee. I'm pressing the elbows together or apart, pressing the hands together rather, and turning the chest to the right. Prioritizing length in the spine, the deeper twist comes from that. And then release that left hand inside right foot. Right arm can just reach back, or if it's available, hold the inside of your back foot. And then instead of turning the chest open, sometimes we do this, but today turn the right shoulder down so it goes more towards that right knee. Maybe bend the left elbow and maybe place the left elbow down. Any of these options is fine, but we want to get a deep stretch into the left quad here. Couple of breaths. And then gently release. Now come into a little squat with the balls of the feet together, the heels together, and then the knees open wide to the side. Then from here, just walk your hands a little bit forward and allow your chest to fold forward inside your knees. Relax the head. And gently allow the spine to round and soften. We'll hold this pose for a tiny bit longer. And feel how you can really soften into this shape. Often as yogis, our solution to any problem is to stretch it out. So if you have lower back problem, you might think of this pose to lengthen the lower back. It's not a bad thing always, but often that just alleviates the problem very temporarily. So that's why we had to do all this other work into glutes, the upper back, the rest of the spine, even the neck, to see if we can approach the problem from in a smarter way, a way that will set us up for no lower back issues in a little bit longer term. Nice. Release, just sit down, stretch your left leg away and lift the right knee up. Open the right knee to the side and then just pull the foot inside your left thigh. Now sit up. Now usually we would again turn ourselves over that front leg, a little bit like the warrior one, but again we'll rather face in the diagonal between the legs for this option today. Again, to give our lower back the best optimal position to lengthen without being lengthened and twisted to the side. It's a nice way to work. So you can always do this, especially if you have SI joint issues, then definitely this version is for you. And also if you're pregnant, this might be a nice option because there's just more space for the belly as we fold forward here. Couple of breaths here, you get a mild stretch left hamstring, or maybe a stronger stretch, depends where you are. A bit of external rotation in this right hip, and a nice length in the lower back. And then slowly you walk up, swap sides, right leg straight, left knee bended. Open the left knee to the side, pull the foot in closer, setting up for Janu Sirsasana, the one-legged seated forward bend. And then again, instead of turning and twisting over the front leg, for today, keep the chest at the diagonal between the two legs, more or less. Sit nice and upright. Keep that length in the spine as you walk a little bit out with the hands. And then stop anywhere. We don't want to walk as far that this right hip lifts too high. Keep it a little bit heavy. And then just feel the space in the lower back. Couple of breaths here. Nice and soft. We're not trying to go as far as possible. Just trying to get some spacious feeling in the lower back. And then slowly lift back up. We'll end with two really relaxing poses. And the first one is lying on the belly. And if you've got a block or another object, anything really will do, but as long as it has a little bit of weight, if you've got that nearby, then grab that. Lie on your belly and place the object on the lower back. And then just rest your forehead on the hands, so you can turn the head to one side. And now feel the weight of that block or object on your lower back. If you have a partner who is willing, it's really nice if they have their hands on your lower back with a gentle pressure as well. But if you're by yourself, then the book will have to do. And then direct your breath into the area where you feel the light pressure. And with your breath, can you really inflate that area around the lower back and around your sides, the waist? Like you're inflating a tire all around that part of the body. Maybe that's not a great analogy, but you know what I mean. As you inhale, you'll feel the belly presses down into the mat, and the lower back lengthens. As you exhale, the block or whatever's there softens down, the belly relaxes. Let the legs be completely relaxed here. Just working with the breath into the lower back. With this work, we're activating our response of the nervous system that allows us to relax, the rest and digest response, it's often called. And it's the one that's opposite to the fight and flight response, which is often a dominant one as we are stuck in traffic and working hard and helping other people and raising our kids. It often seems like a lot of challenges come our way, and this is a nice little break for yourself. And then you can take that object away, or if this was nothing, then it also works, of course. And for the last pose, I'm going to move my mat to the wall. Got some wall space, this is really nice. And if you've got a fat pillow nearby, then I would really recommend you take that and just place it all the way against the wall. Now to get into this, it's a little bit special. Let me show you from this side. So I'm going to sit with my one side all the way up against the wall, and I can come down on the elbow and lift myself up onto the pillow and then swing my legs up the wall here. And then you can use a bit of a caterpillar motion to scoot your hips as close to the wall as possible until you can feel the glutes and the whole backs of the legs are up on the wall. Rest your arms, just like Shavasana in the upper body. You've got a little lift in the hips. And just let go here. Let your legs be fully supported on the wall. Let the hips rest heavily on the pillow or the surface beneath you. And see if you can let that relaxation spread from your center all the way up the legs to the toes. And all the way through your belly, your lower back, your upper back, the chest, the shoulders, the arms, the fingers, spreading up the neck and the throat, spreading throughout the whole face and all the way to the top of your head. Whole body just softening. And allow your mind to also quiet down. Drop into that same restful space as the body is in now. And with every exhale, you feel the legs rest heavier up on the wall, hips and the spine rest heavier on the surface underneath you. The shoulders drop down more and more. The back of the head resting on the floor. If you'd like to stay here for a little bit longer, this is great. I recommend to do this for 5, 10, 15 minutes every day. It's a great pose as well to do just before bed, especially if you have trouble falling asleep. So feel free to stay for as long as you want. It's time for you to move on and gently move your fingers, move your toes. You can bend your knees and then just roll over onto one side. And use your hands to come up to sitting. Take a comfortable seat, place your hands together at the heart. Touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart center, and bow to yourself on the mat. Namaste everybody, thank you so much for joining me for the low back love. I hope you're feeling all spacious and that the discomfort might have gone away a little bit. And I recommend come back to this practice often, even if it's just parts of it, and hopefully it will serve you really well. I'll see you again here soon. All the best.